Did you know that if you do not have the right compliance on your website, you could get huge fines? And even worse, if you want to do advertising or stuff like that, you could not even advertise any longer because Google requires you to have something on your website in order to run ads. Now, this may be something that you do not understand yet. I don't even fully understand this yet, but I'm here with Cyril, who built a solution for this problem. If you add this thing to your website will be compliant. You can run ads again. You won't be fined. And even better, this is a huge making money opportunity at this moment because you can also offer this to other businesses. Am I saying everything correctly, Cyril?
Absolutely, Tim. It's perfectly correct. You're absolutely bang on. But I do want to explain what this is all about. I know you put up quite a puzzle for the audience, and they must be thinking, okay, what is this? What are we talking about? So we are talking about consent compliance, and well, this is 2025, and the world is changing very fast. And I'm sure you've noticed that now data privacy, data security is at the center of every conversation. When you think about at a global level, countries all over are trying to make sure that the data is secure, that the citizens' data is absolutely safe. And that means everyone has a higher obligation now than ever to make sure that data security is absolutely implemented correctly on the website. Now, the specific thing that I'm talking about is called consent compliance. And I'll tell you why it's important. So now you have, of course, whenever you go to many websites, I'm sure you've noticed sometimes you see these pop-ups where they ask you, we use cookies on this website,
Yeah,
and we got tracking
exactly.
you, and here are some options about the cookies. You can either allow them or deny them, and if you deny them, you can't even log into the website. You got to
Yeah.
allow them every single time. Well, that is called consent compliance, and I'll tell you why it's important. You see, there are big companies. We have like Google, like Microsoft, Facebook, every single giant corporation out there. They've been classified as something called a gatekeeper. They are the custodians of our data. And the governments world over have enacted laws that enforce or force everyone to make sure that the data that they hold is secure and also collected with consent. So here is the problem. If you are tracking people, so whenever you're dropping a cookie on a visitor's computer, you're actually dropping something that you can track him with. When he comes back, you know that it's the same visitor who came to my website earlier.
And
You gotta collect
that's
consent.
also where we see all these ads coming back. Hey, how do you visit the website and later on you get all these ads of the product on the website that you visited, right?
Absolutely, yes. The technology of retargeting or remarketing is based on cookies itself. And Google, for example, if you're trying to retarget on Google, if you're trying to remarket on Google, the only way you can do that is if you comply with the consent laws. So here is, I'll tell you some, the latest change, for example, that happened. Google recently enacted something called the consent mode V2, and now they require you to have consent compliance on your website. Without consent compliance, they will not build your retargeting lists. They will not retarget for you. So if you're spending money on Google, you're running ads, your ads could be ineffective. They could be, you could be spending a lot of money and not getting the results you want to, because you cannot put the right audience. You
Yeah,
cannot build an
because
audience on Google, yeah, or Microsoft without consent mode.
yeah, because when you do retargeting, that makes running ads a lot cheaper, right? Instead of when you run ads, you try to reach a certain audience, and when people click on your link, that means they are interested, so they land on your website, and basically you track all the people that land on your website and you retarget those people, and that's what makes ads so cheap, right?
Yeah, this is the entire profiling technology. Now you must be hearing. We've been seeing all this time. How amazingly successful Google is at predicting what you need, and you see the ads of products right when you even sometimes even feel like you just thought about them, and the next thing you see an ad. Well, that is all retargeting and remarketing technology, where Google is able to build a profile of your ideal customer based on what they've been doing, and then show the right ad to them. Well, now they can only do it if you have the consent collected. and you cannot build an audience profile. So even if Google has the data of your perfect customers all out there, they will not be able to collect your own site's visitor data and figure out who your customer is and show the ad to the relevant people.
Mm.
So this is extremely important for you to have on your website. Of course, there is a legal compliance part too, because there's so many laws that are built around this. There is the GDPR, which has been in
Yeah.
existence for quite a while. There is the Digital Marketing Act, which is a US act which requires you to make sure that you collect consent and you market people ethically, like the way I talked
Mm.
about, with their consent. There is also local laws in every single country. Australia has one, Brazil has one, Canada has one. In Asia, nearly every country has one. Of course, India, where I come from, has a law too. So all over the world, consent laws, privacy laws have become very important. And it's very important for you to make sure that your website and your business is complying with them for two things. Firstly, you don't want to be on the wrong side of the law, because if somebody decides to just make a complaint, you could have a fine, you could have a problem, you could be asked by the authorities to produce the records of, make sure to prove to them that you have consent compliance and you are complying with data laws. And the second order effect is you will never be able to spend money on ads and make a profit, because you just cannot get your ideal customer profile through. So it makes sense to make sure that you have consent compliance on your website. And this is exactly the reason why every single important website, every single big website that you go to that are retargeting, that are
Mm-hmm.
running ads, they have this on their screen. And in fact, this is the reason why I built my product today, that's gonna solve the problem for you. It's called Complyfi, because I was paying a competitor close to 15 euros or 15 euros per domain per month, and I have over 30 different websites.
Mm.
So that's a huge pile of money that I was giving away. And I thought, hey, this just doesn't make sense. Why don't I build it myself and not just help myself, but also offer it as a solution to everyone? And that's the product Complyfi that we're going to talk about with
Mm.
Tim today.
Yeah, and that's huge because I think it took 6 months ago I purchased a solution and I paid a lot of money for that solution. But let's discuss the product. You built something. I wanted to ask about this, but you've built a product. It's Complyfi. How do I pronounce it? Complyfi.
Yeah, it's Complyfi. Exactly, it's called
Can,
Complyfi.
can you tell us a little bit more? And maybe we can show a demo so that people have an understanding of what this tool is and how they can use it and implement on their website. And even better, also they can sell
Sure.
this to businesses as well, right?
Yeah, that's the most important bit. Now, every other consent management platform, there is a complete class for it. By the way, Tim, I want to point out, this industry or this segment of consent management is worth $1 billion, and it's growing by 9% year on year. Now, these are
Mm.
the stats I found when I was just checking today, and I was blown away, because think about it, the market is huge. It's worth $1 billion, and it's not dominated by somebody like Google or
Yeah.
Meta. It's all small players. And right now what we have is just the tip of the iceberg. Now all the big businesses are already complying, they're already
Hmm.
collecting consent, they're already running retargeting correctly, but most of the small businesses don't even know what this is about,
Yeah.
and they're just seeing their ad revenues fall, they're just seeing their ad performance fall, and they have no clue, because
Mm.
nobody wants them, nobody tells them, unless you're going to an agency that's a professional and they will implement it for you and charge you an arm and a leg for it.
Mm.
People are just not aware of this, and you can easily cater to that market and sell Complyfi as a solution, sell consent management as a solution, and then build up a market just from there. So yes, that's also a part of this. It has a
Yeah.
version where you can provide consent management to other people too.
Nice. This is a huge opportunity right now because it's basically at the beginning, at the start, right? They just implemented this not too long ago, so the market is wide open for you to offer this as a service to clients. Cyril, let's
Yeah.
dive into it. Let's share your screen and show the people what this tool is and what it does.
Absolutely. Thanks, Tim. So I'm inside of Complyfi right now, and getting set up on Complyfi is super easy. All you need to do is click on add website and put in your website name, for example, cloudfunnels.in, put in the URL and click on add website. And I've already done that, so I'm not going to skip that part. But what's going to happen then is Complyfi is going to detect the cookies that you're using on your website and automatically catalog them, because cookie consent is an important part of compliance, and
Yeah.
Complyfi does that for you automatic. By the way, if you go to my website, technique force, for example, this is the kind of the banner
Mm,
that is there on the website, and if you allow all, the cookie consent will be recorded. Now, I want to tell you a very big important information, like many of you could be missing. There is a difference between just having the cookie banner on your screen and cookie consent management. Now, the law
mm,
clearly says that people should be able to approve how they want to manage the cookies and later be able to change it. So
mm,
many times there are half-baked solutions in the market that do not have cookie consent management, and they just give you a pop-up that appears. You click on something, something happens, nobody ever knows what happened. There is no cookie reporting, and people can't change what they actually set up. That is not valid. That's not correct according to GDPR and according to the various legal systems out there. What should happen, or even according to Google consent mode, people should be able to change their consent. If you do not allow people to change their consent, it's not cookie management. Plus, you should be able to record and identify the cookie consent in your platform too.
mm.
And Complyfi has all of that. So going back to Complyfi, this is where we set up the consent banner, and the consent banner is what you saw right over here, and it's loading the data right now it has absolutely modifiable consent banner. Now, I want to tell you this: when you set it up the first time, right out of the box, it's 100% ready to go, and you can use it as is. If you want to, you can change the colors. We have a number of templates. These are just a few examples. We have more than 50 templates in different colors. For example, here is another template. This is so you can choose a template that matches your website's look. I'm just showing it to you very
Okay, so you can
quickly.
also change the
This is now.
HTML yourself. I see.
Yeah, yeah, that's the best part of it. So this is another template which now aligns at the
Nice.
bottom of the screen. So you can have templates that are on the center. You can have templates that stick to the bottom. So we have many, many options.
Mm.
But the most important thing is this is absolutely customizable. Like you pointed out, Tim, you can modify anything you want. And this is for our more technical people or people who have designers on the team. So you can modify the entire HTML. We have the code right here. And you can also modify the CSS. So you can change things absolutely any way you want. If you want the logo to be
Very
placed
cool.
differently, or you have a different design, you want the pop-up to look like it absolutely matches your design, it's absolutely customizable.
Nice.
Not
Love
just
it.
that, the content is also 100% customizable. Now we have calibrated this consent to this content to be in accordance to the law. But if you want to change this, let's say you have a website on music, or you have a zany website, something which is not very boring, and you want to make it look more appealing, you want to change the content a little bit to make sure that your people are also entertained, or the entire feel of the website is maintained, you can change anything you want. And you can change them from the sidebar. For example, we use cookies for privacy. I can type
Mm.
either here, or I can even do it manually, visually. So I can just click and modify any place
Okay,
I
cool.
want, and this is all preserved. So that's one thing. Next, we support all the languages of the world. Here are some of the languages that are already there. You can just click on the language and click on reset to default to load up the entire language, or you can even translate. Let's say you worked hard and you modified things in English.
Mm.
Now, all the people who are coming to your website from France, you want to show them the content pop up in French. Well, you can actually do that because Complyfi will automatically detect where the
Wow.
person is visiting from, and also what language they're browsing the web in. And then it will show them the compliance notifications, compliance information in their language if you have set it up to behave that way. So all you need to do, for example, is click on French, make it the current language, and then click on translate from language, and it uses AI. So I already put in English. That's why
Mm.
you can see English as a source language. Let's say you were a French guy, you would have put in French, and then you could have translated it to English or Italian or any other language like that. So all you need to do is click on proceed, and it will use AI to
Nice.
translate all of your content into French right away. It takes a few seconds.
Very
Meanwhile, I'll show
nice.
you some of the other options. So you have consent categories. It has consent categories like vital. So it's already translated to French. And by the
Oh,
way, we use the best AI to do this translation. It's not garbage. It will be absolutely realistic, absolutely correct to the best capability that AI has right now. And as usual, we'll keep updating. If later AI becomes even better, Complyfi is going to be better too.
very
You can
cool.
set up what kind of cookies you want to have, vital, or well, I can't. I'm not very good at French, unfortunately, so I can't give you the entire details. So you can change the cookie setup for everything. You can change the categories, but mostly you can leave it alone. I know that about 80% of my market is of people who don't want to get involved in here,
Yeah,
and they'll be happy
because
to just leave it
not
alone.
everyone will understand everything about this tool. So basically, what you say is they fill out their name of the website, the URL of the website, and basically it's good. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely, it's ready to go, but it does
Nice.
allow you
Yeah.
customization to the nth level. I will show you a couple more things.
Hmm.
It has a place where you can put in your privacy policy. So if you want to put in your privacy policy, you can have that. If not, then you can just disable it.
Okay,
It
cool.
also lets you choose what kind of consent buttons you want. So there are, let's say you have a reason why you only want people to either allow all or deny all, which they will not be able to use, they will not be able to customize. You can have that. You can have customization. You can only allow people to uh, click on allow all and not use a website at all if they deny. So
Hmm.
it's totally up to you how you want
Nice.
your consent pop-up to
So
behave.
basically,
And
Cyril,
if you
when
want DPO,
they click on one of these
sorry,
buttons, Amplify will manage all the cookies for you. So if somebody says you cannot store my cookies, then Amplify will get rid of the cookies for that specific user.
yeah, absolutely. Also, we have categorization like I showed you. So you can choose which cookies are vital. By the way, this is also detected to quite a large extent by Complyfi. We have a huge database of cookies. We know what cookies do what function, and
Hmm.
we will automatically categorize cookies into analytics, into vital. I'll show you that portion before we come back here. So when you go to cookies, it has automatically detected what cookies my website is using. You can
Wow.
see right here, and it has automatically categorized it. So you don't need to
Super
work
cool.
hard. But if there is a particular cookie that you want to put in, maybe your dev team tells you, hey, we have an ecom website and this is one cookie that we're using. You can just put in the cookie name, categorize the cookie, and click on add new cookie, and it will be added to the repository. So it's 100% automatic but also customizable.
Hmm.
Next, I want to show you the DPO section. Now, those of you who are aware of the GDPR regulation, this law and similar laws have been enacted all over the world in all of the Western, Eastern. Like you cannot distinguish between the jurisdictions now. It's just all over the world. There are several different laws, and this particular section just allows you to confirm with all of them. So DPO means data protection officer, and this tool can let you choose whether you want to have a DPO or not. If you want to have a DPO section available, you can have it there. If not, you can choose not to have it. So all of that is already set up. By the way, we have a
Super
data
cool.
protection set up too. And again, it's the same thing. The theme will exactly match what you selected. So depending on the theme that you had, you will
Hmm.
have that. And the same features, like you can choose what language you want to work in. You can fetch. By the way, we have our defaults, and this fetch from DB. It's like a fallback. Let's say you modified this and you're unhappy. You made so many changes that you feel you've just gone too far ahead, and you're not sure whether you're right or not. You can just click on fetch from reset to default, and you will be able to just go back to the version that we set up. So you can always save yourself. Let's say you
Nice.
wanted to get the version that you had put in, and you made some changes but you don't think that's good enough. You can just fetch from DB, and the last saved version will be restored. And again, we have translate from language. You can translate, you can add your own photo, you can add your details again like this.
Very cool.
Is the DPO, data protection officer. You can put in any details you want, and it's all visual because we wanted to decomplicate it. I have done a study of all the competition, all the alternatives to this, and nothing makes compliance as easy as this. They all assume that you must already be aware of what you're doing, and it kind of sets you up to create the same thing, but nothing is done for you the way we
Hmm.
have done it. For example, not a single tool in the market has localization using AI. So you can translate using AI in our tool,
Hmm.
but not in any other tool. That's one more thing about it. I'm going to go back to consent banner for a moment. So I already showed you the template setup and how you can set it up. By the way, we also have regional level compliance. Let's say for some reason you wanted to show a different compliance experience to people in Africa. Maybe you don't want to show it at all because maybe most of the African countries don't even want to worry about it, or you just don't care about compliance for those regions. You can choose where you want the compliance pop up to show.
Hmm.
So if you want it to only show in Europe or North America, you can have that instead of all visitors. You can choose that, and then the compliance will show only in the European and the North American countries.
Wow.
It will not show in all the other countries. So that means you can go deep and choose the jurisdiction that you care about the most. And if you don't
Hmm.
want to limit the traffic, if you don't want to have one more step for the traffic that comes in from other places, you can have that.
Nice. And that's
So I'm gonna say
specifically
that.
also for GDPR, right? You could say, I don't want to have this banner
Yeah,
in the USA, but in Europe, where it's required, I'm going to show that banner. Because nobody loves to
yeah,
have a banner on
absolutely.
their website, but we're all required to have one because of those GDPR and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, USA also has similar laws. There is the there is a Californian law. I think it's called CCNA, and there are similar laws. Even Virginia has a law like that. So these laws are coming up everywhere. I
Hmm.
frankly don't think that any jurisdiction will be free of this, because data privacy is the hottest thing right now,
Yeah.
and not in terms of trend, but this is something that people really care about, especially the countries,
Hmm.
because no country at this time wants to let any other country or any other entity control the data, or even be aware of how their citizens are
Hmm.
using the internet. So consent is absolutely important.
Yeah.
We have different modes of consent. Let's say, for example, in Brazil there is something called implied consent. If you want to set it up for Brazil, you could do that. Target only Brazil, so you could just expand it like this. I think Brazil is in South America, honestly. So you can choose only Brazil and put in
Hmm.
implied consent. So you can have multiple consent boxes, tapping different markets. So for
Okay.
Brazil, you can show a different experience, and for USA, you can show a different experience. For Europe, you can show a different experience.
So do,
That's also a part of this software.
so is this all possible to set this up in one setup? Like we've added one URL now, and with this setup, you can specify which countries see what? Or do we need to set this up multiple times?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. No, you have to set up multiple versions of it.
Yeah,
So you
okay.
can,
Yeah,
for example, this setup I only want to target Brazil with, I can
yeah,
do that. And if I want to target USA, I just need to do it again for the
yeah.
USA, but this
Okay,
time setting up the
gotcha,
way I want
gotcha.
to. Because that's how you can actually show different consent boxes, different
Hmm.
setups, different logos, placements, anything you want. So that's also only made possible if you just set up the workflow for each particular region that you want to target.
Nice, nice.
By the way, it also, I was talking about consent management earlier. So if you go to consent records, it has the total consent information about all the people who consented. So there is the IP address.
Wow.
Every consent has a unique address, unique ID, which is required by law, and the permission they gave, and exactly the time they did that. And
Wow.
also it has some information about where they were from, which OS they were using, which browser they were using, and the
Mm.
screen size. So all of the consent is managed, is recorded, and you can export it. You can export it to CSV. You can even check it by UID. Let's say if somebody says that this is my UID, and they want to confirm, maybe for some reason, for legal reasons,
Yeah.
whether you have the consent record with them or not. You can do that easily. It's all
Wow.
in there. Also, we
Hey,
have a
now,
complaint record. So if somebody made a complaint under GDPR to you, yeah, sorry, you were saying something.
yeah, sometimes there's a small delay, but how long is this data available in the backend?
We have no time limits because this is a very small compact data. We are not removing the data.
Okay.
I think GDPR requires you to maintain this for at least a year, but we have not deleted anything yet. And maybe once we see the volume of the data and the things, we will of course keep it to the required legal time,
Yeah.
and beyond that we will remove the data because it's not required at all. But at this time the records are maintained throughout.
Nice, nice.
To confirm with GDPR, it also has complaints. So I think I have GDPR on my website. I can change consent and go to DPO, and I can file a complaint, or I can make a claim. So I can just put in my name
Okay.
and email and message and send a claim. So this is the behavior for the customers. It also has the GDPR information as required by the law. I can view my rights. You can either put the rights here or
Mm.
point them to your privacy. I take the easy way out, of course, up to you.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
All the requests that people make to your website can will be incorporated in the complaint record, where you will see
Hmm.
the customer's name, the email, and the complaint they sent you, plus a copy of it is also sent to your email ID. So you will be able to review. Not just that you need to come to Complyfi and check. You will be notified, and anytime there is a message or a claim from a customer, you will absolutely know about it, and that means you will never be caught unawares. So this is absolutely easy to set up. Also, installing it is a breeze. So when you come to the install section, all you need to do is copy
Hmm.
this one line and paste it before the body tag of your web page. If you have installed Google Pixel, Google Analytics, or Facebook Pixel, it's the
Yeah.
same thing. That's all
Wow.
you need to do, nothing more than that. So it's a
Wow.
super easy software to use, and we do have a reseller version. So again, you can either create compliance pop-ups for your customers by
Hmm.
just adding them over here, or if you want to sell access to the product, you can do that too using the reseller program. If you have the reseller version, so all of that is built inside the software. Super easy. You're done within 10 minutes as far as compliance is concerned.
Wow. Wow. This is really, really impressive, Cyril. I mean, I looked a little bit into it, but once you showed me all of this, I'm like, wow, everybody needs to have this, at least for themselves. If you're not going to sell this to anyone, everyone wants to have this on their website. I mean, you made this so stupid
Absolutely.
simple. This
Yeah,
is amazing.
especially the AI translation. You do want to show people, like if you're dealing with consent management, you do want to show people consent records in Europe or European languages to make sure that everybody gets it. Complyfi simplifies
Oh,
everything. So
the
that was
connect.
one step that removed a huge headache from people's minds, how to get their custom information out there and make sure that everyone sees it in the best way possible. So that's exactly the easiest way to do this using AI. Also, like you said, it's stupidly simple. People can do it in one
Mm.
step and go for it. And you should definitely have it on your site. But I gotta say, consent is one of the hugest growing markets right now,
Mm.
and this is something that every
Yeah.
website
Honestly,
needs. So if you
I
have an agency,
I put
this could be the best product.
absolutely. I purchased it myself. I think 6 months ago because I was like, man, I need to have this on my website. Otherwise, I'm in trouble. So I already spent a lot of money on this, and now that I'm seeing your tool, I'm like, man, I think I need to replace what I have on my website with what you have here because
This is
you
this
you
is
made
very
you
rare,
made it
Tim.
really.
It's absolutely the best tool.
I believe so.
Also, I want to point out, if you've got a consent management tool, most of these tools cost more than $15, 15 euros a month. And they have limitations, like you can't have more than 3,000 visitors. You can't have more than 250 or 300,000
Hmm.
consents a month,
It's all
which is
limited.
ridiculous. You will run out of them in no time if you're running ads, if you got an e-com website, right? Or if you got a blog which gets traffic. So all of these factors limit you. You will be typically paying upwards of $50 if you
Mm.
got traffic on your website. And with Complyfi, I have no limits because I set it up in a
Wow.
way where it's absolutely efficient and it absolutely works without consuming a lot of resources. So I can scale it up to any number without any hassle, and it's
Nice.
absolutely easy for me to run it in a manner where I don't need to charge you and limit you. So Complyfi has no limits when it comes to number of visitors. If you got the right version, of course,
Hmm.
there is an upgrade
Yeah.
cycle. So if you got the pro version,
Yeah.
it does not have any limits about the compliance count or the visitors count. So you will be saving a huge pile of money when it comes to implementing this and maintaining this.
Yeah. Super, super awesome. I'm super impressed. Also, you talk about different versions, etc. And we're sending out this video before you're going to launch this product. So if you're watching this video, probably today, maybe tomorrow, but if you're watching this on Tuesday, on Wednesday, 8 p.m., Cyril's having a webinar with Todd Gross explaining everything about this tool. I mean, you've showed a bunch of stuff already, but if you want to know more, make sure to be there tomorrow, Wednesday at 8 p.m. Also, because I can imagine that you have a lot of questions. I mean, even when you see all of this, you might think of some questions you want to ask Cyril or Todd. You want to be there on the webinar to ask those questions directly so that they can answer those questions. And Cyril, is there also a reward a reward for showing up on the webinar,
Yep,
like being
there
early?
is actually cash rewards. People can get cash rewards just for showing up. So yeah, it's a great idea for to show up on the webinar. Like Tim said, firstly, you will get to have both of us talking to you, and you can answer questions. You can ask questions. We make sure we get to every single question out there. We address every single question, and we'll be staying there to make sure all of your questions are resolved. Plus, we'll be talking about how to turn this into a business. Tim already gave you important clues, and be we'll be talking more about that. We'll be talking about the opportunity, and it's a great way to just learn how to sell it.
Yeah, it's like you said, this is a huge opportunity, something that's at the start right now. And this is definitely something, guys, if you're looking for an opportunity out there to sell this to other businesses, you can have this on your website. That's one thing, but to sell this thing is huge. I think it's a super easy thing to sell to other businesses. Because if you tell them what they need and what can happen if they don't have this, I think it's a super easy thing to sell. For those that show up,
Absolutely.
is there also an early bird price for
Yes.
Complyfi?
Yeah, there's going to be a special prize. We have an all-inclusive version which gives you all the funnel at a crazy price, and you can get that if you show up on the webinar. And but I would say that it's the best. They will have the best offer. The best offer is going to be on the pre-launch webinar. So make sure you get there.
Nice. And there are 2 webinars actually, right? So if they can't make it to the first one at Wednesday, 8 p.m., then there's also one on Thursday, 10 a.m. in the morning. So you have both chances to come at the evening or in the morning. There's a link below this video if you want to sign up. Maybe you're already on the sign up page when you see this video. Make sure to sign up and to get your access to this software because I think, Cyril, you've done an amazing job. And is there anything else you'd
Thank
like
you,
to
sir.
say?
I guess that's about it, and I'm just looking forward to this, Tim, making sure that everyone gets a great experience. They get a viable tool that they can put in on their website without having to spend a lot, like you spent a lot. This is how I created the product. When I found out how much I would have to spend for 30 websites, I said, okay, this is it. I need to create something of my own, not just serve my own needs, but also help other people and make sure they can find an affordable solution.
Absolutely. Well, that's what you're offering. Guys, go check it out. Go sign up. And looking forward to see you there tomorrow, Wednesday, 8 p.m. or Thursday, 10 a.m. in the morning. Cyril, thank you for watching. And everyone,
Thank you
thank
so
you for
much.
watching. Hit a thumbs up if this video was useful for you, to you. And also consider subscribing to my YouTube channel if you haven't done yet. I do more product reviews or interviews with product creators like I'm doing right now. So make sure to hit the notification bell so you get notified. And everyone, thank you so much for watching. And I hope to see you in my next video. Talk soon. Cheers.
Bye bye.